We are well into 2026 right now with this live stream. We're at the end of January, and the focus for 2026 is on biblical literacy and looking at these ancient texts as pieces of beautiful literature that can be read and understood and enjoyed and appreciated for what they are, and the beauty that they are. The Bible is not one book. And I'm going to plug Bart Ehrman. I know. Whew. Almost got a bad taste in my mouth. Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman, I think this past week, I saw he gave his last public lecture as a professor at Chapel Hill. Bart Ehrman, famous agnostic professor of biblical studies. Yeah, I know. I agree. That's kind of an oxymoron. But he is officially retiring and gave his last public address. Yeah, the last lecture, Bart Ehrman's retirement lecture from UNC. And he talks about what he thinks is the greatest discovery in biblical studies of his lifetime. All right. It's not the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's not other things that he mentions. But he claims the greatest discovery is that the Bible is not one book. It is 66 books and writings.
So with that, all that said, I want to get into of all the things that are involved with teaching biblical studies. What do I consider to be the most significant discovery ever made in its history, in the history of the discipline? That's what I want to talk about. So, our flawed manuscripts. That really does matter. But that's not the most significant discovery in the history of biblical study. The findings of archaeology. Both Old Testament and New Testament are texts that people read and study and analyze, but at some point people realize, there probably should be some evidence that these things happened, like material evidence, like archaeological evidence. The single most discovery I'm now going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you first, it's going to seem rather banal, minor, uninteresting, not exactly headline news, but it revolutionized the field. And it forever changed our understanding of the Jewish and Christian scriptures. It is that the Bible is not a single book. The most important discovery, I'm going to argue.
And my response, Professor Bart Ehrman, is, duh. I'm glad the greatest discovery in your biblical studies, very intelligent man, but I'm glad the greatest discovery is that the Bible is not one book. I'm glad you discovered that the Christian Bible is not one book. I wish more people would discover that. It is an anthology. It is a collection of ancient writings. It is not one book. And I am super glad you discovered that, former Professor Bart Ehrman. I really wish more people would discover that for themselves. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in that, right? What about you? Have you discovered that the Bible is not one book? Yes, the word Bible means the book. However, that's because in antiquity and throughout the Middle Ages, it was the most common book. By the way, it's also, and it meant printing or binding, right? And it's the most printed collection of writings even today. So maybe there's something to that. And I've got to agree with Bart on this one. Yeah, that is a very profound discovery. And I think every individual who wants to read and understand the Bible should first and foremost recognize that it is not one book. It's obviously not one book. It is 66 books and writings, unless you're Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, or various other religious groups. They agree with the same 66 books as the Protestants, Pentecostals, Charismatics, and a lot of other people. They just add other books in, okay? They have more books. It's not, they don't take any away, they just add to them, all right? But yeah, According to a former professor of biblical studies at UNC Chapel Hill, the illustrious, famous Bart Ehrman said the greatest discovery is that this corpus of writings we call the Bible is not one book, but in fact 66 plus books and writings. And super impressive. Wow. Wow. Golf clap. Golf clap. Glad you figured that out. Here, let me demonstrate how obvious that the Bible is not one book. You ready? Let me just grab one of them here. Let's grab this one right here. There we go. Looks like one book, doesn't it? Right? Looks like a book. I mean, looks like one book. Let me grab another book off my shelf. Okay. Let's grab this one. This is Evidence That Demands a Verdict by Josh McDowell and Sean McDowell, PhD. It is a beast of a book. It is a singular book. Chapters in it, appendices. It's a very good book. Definitely read it. I would recommend it. Anyway, interested in the subject matter. Yeah, this is a very well done book. All right, researched, compiled, written. Very good book. This is one book. Okay. I know they look similar, don't they? They look very similar, remarkably similar. So, I mean, to somebody just seeing this on a bookshelf, they might assume it is one book. That's true. They might. I could understand if they did. But when you actually pick it up and read it, it becomes glaringly obvious that this is not one book. Okay? Glaringly obvious. For example, where do you normally start with a book? You start at the very beginning, right? Right? So we have some explanation of format. We have some abbreviations here. And then we have the Old Testament. Holy Bible. The Old Testament. Oh, okay. What's the very next page? The first book of Moses called Genesis. I mean, I don't want to treat Bart Ehrman like he's dumb or trying to bamboozle anyone, even though I think he might in this case. But if you simply pick up a copy of the Christian Bible and open it to the very front, you should discover that this is not one book, but it is a collection of books that are bound together. Because it's right there at the beginning. See? Let's pick up this book. Let's flip it to the beginning, right? Open it up. We have some statements here at the beginning about the book from various people like Lee Strobel and Eric Matassis, Joni Eareckson Tada, Louis Giglio, Jay Richards, right? And then we get to the title page. Evidence that demands a verdict. What's the cover say? Evidence that demands a verdict. Second title page, same thing. We got the authors, right? Table of contents, foreword, preface, acknowledgement. He changed my life. Introduction, prologue, part 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. You get the idea, right? This is clearly one book. Christian Bible. First book of Moses called Genesis. Not one book, right from the beginning. Here, let's pick another copy. All right. This one is in the New King James. Let's grab a different one. Let's grab this red one. It says Holy Bible on the front. It is in King James, printed by Zondervan. It is old, by the way. This thing is old. Contents. This one has chapters listed in the table of contents with their names. It's one book. This is not one book. It is several books bound together, specifically 66 books in this case. Books of the Bible in alphabetical order preface. Books of the Old Testament, books of the New Testament. That's not how they're printed, because if you flip the page, we have the books of the Bible in alphabetical order. New Testament books are indicated in italics. All right. And then we have the preface from the translators to King James. Well worth reading that letter, by the way. that preface. All right. And then we get to the Old Testament, first book of Moses, called Genesis, right? So, Professor Ehrman, in your farewell last lecture as a teaching professor at UNC Chapel Hill in biblical studies, you think the greatest discovery of your lifetime is that the Bible is not one book. The only thing I have to say to that is, wow. I mean, I'm not the guy with the PhD, but so yes, Professor Ehrman, former Professor Ehrman, I would agree absolutely with you that the greatest discovery for anyone when it comes to biblical studies is to recognize that it is in fact multiple books.